What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Roger Report, where we bring you the hottest takes and the most critical updates from across the world of sports and beyond. The news cycle is absolutely exploding right now, with seismic shifts happening faster than you can hit refresh. We've got massive stories breaking that are going to redefine legacies, shake up franchises, and have everyone talking. You do not want to miss what's coming up next, so buckle up. First, we dive deep into the locker room of a legendary team, where a veteran superstar is making waves, not just with his arm, but with his approach to building connections and reshaping his narrative in Pittsburgh. Is this the start of something special, or just another chapter in a storied career? Then, we're dissecting the very essence of a storied NFL franchise: what makes them unique, what's changing, and if their legendary status is on the brink of a major shift. Is the old way still the best way, or is a new era dawning? We'll also explore the fascinating parallel journeys of two titans of the game, a legendary quarterback and a masterful coach, who, after facing each other in a Super Bowl years ago, are now united with a shared mission to reignite past glory. Can they recapture that championship magic together? And finally, we catch up with some of the guys who know him best, his former teammates, as they prepare to face a familiar face under new colors. What are they saying about the upcoming showdown? You've got to hear this. Stay tuned for all the details, and make sure you're subscribed and have that notification bell on so you never miss a moment. Let's get into it. A new chapter in Pittsburgh. Aaron Rodgers is making headlines, not just for his on-field performance, but for his off-field approach to building connections within the Pittsburgh Steelers locker room. After signing a one-year deal with the team, Rodgers has reportedly asked his new teammates to look past the external noise and media portrayals, urging them to get to know the real him. This comes at a time when public perception, fueled by various polls and past controversies, often paints a polarizing picture of the veteran quarterback. Rodgers, who spent months in silence weighing his return to the NFL, acknowledged that this silence allowed others to fill the void with speculation, and he wants to ensure his new teammates have a clean slate. Players like wide receiver Scotty Miller have noted Rodgers' desire for a fresh start, highlighting his willingness to connect with everyone, from rookies to established players. Instead of sticking to a familiar group, Rodgers has been seen engaging with players across the locker room, from defensive tackle Yahya Black to offensive lineman Mason McCormick, fostering a sense of camaraderie. Quarterbacks coach Tom Arth, who has a history with Rodgers from their time with the Packers, has observed Rodgers building vital relationships throughout the organization, predicting that the team will play hard for him. Rodgers himself has described his envisioned role as a servant leader, aiming to support and uplift his teammates. This approach extends to detailed feedback, as seen when he offered insights to inside linebacker Patrick Queen on defensive schemes. Even those initially skeptical, like safety Deshaun Elliott, who had previously suggested Rodgers should retire, have been won over by his personality and genuine engagement, now calling him funny as hell. This commitment to connecting with everyone, regardless of their status on the team, is a hallmark of his current approach. He's not just a football genius. He's actively working to integrate himself and build trust, demonstrating a humility that contrasts with his superstar status. The partnership with head coach Mike Tomlin, a long-standing mutual respect, further solidifies this new era for the Steelers. Both men, secure in their identities, are looking to elevate the franchise. Rodgers' decision to play for the Steelers, rather than retire, signifies a desire to write a more satisfying conclusion to his illustrious career, focusing on his present impact rather than past controversies. The team, in turn, is betting on Rodgers' ability to bring a high level of play and leadership, especially as they navigate the transition from their previous franchise quarterback. The veteran's willingness to connect, teach, and lead by example is already making a significant impact, creating an environment where players feel valued and motivated to perform at their best. This focus on building strong relationships off the field is seen as a crucial element for success on it, especially for a team aiming for a deep playoff run. The early returns suggest that Rodgers' unique blend of talent and interpersonal skills is exactly what Pittsburgh needs to forge a new path forward. But is this new approach enough to shift the team's long-standing identity? we'll explore the very foundations of what makes this franchise unique next. The fading aura of Steelers exceptionalism. The concept of Steelers exceptionalism, the belief that this NFL franchise operates with a unique, superior, old-fashioned, blue-collar, and stoic manner, is deeply ingrained in its identity. This perception, fostered by the Rooney family and amplified by media and fans, suggests a general superiority over the league's other 31 teams. Aaron Rodgers himself acknowledged this unique atmosphere upon joining the team, noting the sense of honor required to uphold the legacy of past greats. This reverence for history is a critical element in Pittsburgh's appeal, with Steeler football becoming a recognizable term associated with a strong defense and run game. The team's business practices also reinforce this image. A long-standing policy against negotiating contracts during the season promotes a focus on football, and their continued use of a distant college for training camp adds to their distinctive character. Minor touches, like the Steelmark logo's unchanging design and the absence of cheerleaders, further emphasize their commitment to tradition. Historically, the Steelers have earned this reputation, with the Steel Curtain dynasty of the 1970s, 2 Super Bowl wins in the 2000s, and competitive teams throughout the 1990s and 2010s. Even in less successful periods like the 2010s, they fielded captivating offenses and remained a formidable presence, often reaching the Super Bowl or contending for it. However, halfway through the current decade, this distinctiveness appears to be dimming. While the Steelers have maintained a competitive record, winning 50 games since 2020, 7th most in the NFL, their playoff success has been notably absent since the Obama administration. The era of low-drama Steelers has given way to frequent contract disputes and locker-room drama, mirroring other franchises. Ben Roethlisberger's decline and retirement in 2022 left a void at quarterback, a position the team has struggled to fill consistently. Despite these challenges, Coach Mike Tomlin's remarkable streak of 18 consecutive non-losing seasons, a record tied with the league if the current season ends at 8-1, highlights the team's enduring competence. Yet this sustained mediocrity, this existence between good and bad, suggests that the franchise's differentiation is waning. The Steelers' recent offseason moves, including acquiring Aaron Rodgers, trading away key players like George Pickens and Minkah Fitzpatrick for talents like DK Metcalf and Jalen Ramsey, and navigating contract negotiations with TJ Watt, indicate a strategic shift aimed at immediate contention. However, if these moves result in another typical 9-8 season followed by an early playoff exit, it would signify a new standard of boring mediocrity and potentially mark the end of their exceptional status. The conventional NFL quarterback development cycle, finding a young passer, extending him, building a team, and aiming for championships, is a path Pittsburgh has tried to circumvent. Their pursuit of veteran quarterbacks like Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, culminating in the acquisition of Rodgers, a 41-year-old coming off an Achilles injury, places them in a precarious QB purgatory. This strategy, while financially sensible in the short term, deviates significantly from the team's established identity. The signing of Rodgers, a public figure known for his podcast appearances, is particularly striking for a franchise that has long prided itself on being drama-free. This move is a gamble on Steelers' exceptionalism and Tomlin's leadership, banking on their unique culture to rehabilitate Rodgers' image and performance. The team's reluctance to bottom out for a high draft pick, especially with foundational players like TJ Watt and Cam Hayward still performing at elite levels, is understandable. Such a move could alienate fans and tarnish the franchise's reputation as a special organization. The days when the Steelers operated with unusual harmony, avoiding major player holdouts for over a decade, are long past. Modern Steelers teams have experienced numerous mini-dramas and significant locker room issues, with Tomlin himself sometimes struggling to maximize player potential. The franchise's 28th place finish in the NFLPA report card grades further questions player satisfaction. The decision to allow HBO's Hard Knocks cameras into their facility for the first time last season, a move they had long resisted, could be seen as a symbolic surrender to the league's prevailing trends. The 2025 season carries significant legacy implications for both Tomlin and Rodgers. potentially defining whether they lead a renaissance or preside over the end of the team's historic run of competence. But can this new quarterback and coach combination reignite past glory? We'll explore their parallel journeys and shared history next. Shared journeys, converging paths, Rodgers and Tomlin. The paths of Aaron Rodgers and Mike Tomlin, two titans of the NFL, have been marked by parallel successes and converging moments, most notably their Super Bowl XLV encounter. In that championship game, a 27-year-old Rodgers, then the Green Bay Packers' starting quarterback, delivered a masterful performance against Tomlin's top-ranked Steelers defense, throwing for 304 yards and 3 touchdowns. Rodgers was named Super Bowl MVP, standing atop the sports world, while Tomlin, though gracious in defeat, reflected on the loss, acknowledging the need for reflection and improvement. Both men, at that point, seemed poised for continued dominance and future Super Bowl appearances. Rodgers was entering his prime, and Tomlin, already a Super Bowl-winning coach at a young age, led a franchise with a strong quarterback in Ben Roethlisberger and a formidable defense. Both carried the weight of immense expectations from fan bases hungry for championships, Rodgers in Titletown and Tomlin in the City of Champions. They inherited legacies, Rodgers following Brett Favre, Tomlin succeeding Chuck Noll's dynasty, and in many statistical categories have lived up to those standards. Rodgers is nearing Favre's touchdown record, and Tomlin is on pace to match Noll's regular season win total. Despite their shared history and continued success, neither has reached another Super Bowl together or separately since that 2011 game. Tomlin's postseason record, which was a sparkling 5-2 before Super Bowl XLV, has shifted to 3-9 since, with his team often falling short in the early rounds. The mid-2010s, Killer Bees era, featuring Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, and Le'Veon Bell, showed promise but couldn't overcome perennial contenders like the Patriots. The subsequent years saw defensive struggles and a reliance on subpar quarterbacks after Roethlisberger's departure, leading to a streak of first-round exits where the defense often faltered. Tomlin has acknowledged carrying the burden of these playoff shortcomings, stating, "What you mentioned is my story. It's not this collective story." Rodgers' narrative is different but similarly marked by a lack of ultimate success. Despite winning back-to-back MVP awards in 2020 and 2021, his playoff runs ended in disappointment at Lambeau Field, including a divisional round loss to the 49ers. While statistics like his playoff EPA per dropback and passer rating are elite, the perception of failure often overshadows these numbers, leaving many to question how a quarterback of his caliber has only one Super Bowl ring. His recent tenure with the Jets was cut short by injury and team struggles, leading him to Pittsburgh at age 41. Tomlin's patient approach to acquiring Rodgers, characterized by his empathy and understanding of players' personal lives, evidenced by his support for players facing family crises, made him an ideal coach for Rodgers during a difficult period. Rodgers described his interactions with Tomlin as being like talking to a friend. The Steelers' aggressive offseason, acquiring multiple Pro Bowlers alongside Rodgers, signals a win-now mentality. With Rodgers, they are betting on his ability to recapture his elite form, supported by a more stable environment and a coach known for his leadership. While quarterbacks over 40 have achieved playoff success, Tom Brady's dominance in this category is unparalleled. Rodgers, further removed from his Achilles injury, aims to prove he can still perform at a high level. Both men, perhaps prisoners of their early success, face scrutiny based on their championship records. This partnership in Pittsburgh is their opportunity to redefine their postseason narratives, aiming to achieve the ultimate goal that has eluded them for over a decade. But what do those who know Rodgers best have to say about this reunion? We'll hear from his former teammates next. Familiar faces, new battlefield. Jets react to Rodgers' matchup. As Aaron Rodgers prepares to face his former team, the New York Jets, in Week 1, his ex-teammates have shared their perspectives on the upcoming matchup. By and large, the sentiment from those who played with Rodgers in New York has been overwhelmingly positive, mirroring the initial impressions reported by his new Steelers teammates. They often describe him as an enigmatic but highly impactful player. Two key Jets players, recently voted team captains, offered their insights into facing their former quarterback. Guard Alija Vera Tucker expressed relief at being on the offensive side of the ball, meaning he won't have to directly contend with Rodgers' defensive presence. His focus remains squarely on the Jets' offensive line and their preparation against the Steelers' defense. Vera Tucker, a former first-round pick entering his 5th season, spent the past 2 years blocking for Rodgers, albeit with periods of injury affecting both players. He acknowledged the novelty of the situation, stating, "Personally, I think it's cool, but at the same time, I'm just focusing on us and only us." He emphasized the importance of the offensive line's performance and their need to understand the Steelers' defensive schemes. On the other side of the ball, inside linebacker Jamien Sherwood, also in his 5th season with the Jets, discussed the practicalities of facing a former teammate. Sherwood stated that he doesn't believe there's any inherent advantage in having played with Rodgers. He noted that both he and Rodgers have improved since their time together, and while playing against a friend will be cool, the ultimate goal remains victory. "At the end of the day, we're going out there with one goal in mind, and that's play football," Sherwood commented. The NFL schedule makers, while placing the Jets-Steelers game in Week 1, opted not to schedule it for a primetime slot, a decision that seemed to acknowledge the uncertainty surrounding Rodgers' availability and performance with the Steelers. Had they known for sure Rodgers would be a Steeler, it might have been a different story. Rodgers himself has remained largely private about facing his former team, stating that he gave his all during his time with the Jets and has moved on, despite the relationship ending somewhat acrimoniously. While he hasn't expressed a strong desire for revenge, beating the Jets would undoubtedly feel good. The question of how much Rodgers' 5-12 record with the Jets was a reflection of his performance versus the team's overall struggles remains a topic of discussion. Both Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, who played in Pittsburgh after their respective struggles elsewhere, have shown improved performance with the Steelers. On paper, the Steelers appear to be a stronger team than the Jets. Nevertheless, even friendly faces like Jermaine Johnson, II, will be focused on disrupting Rodgers' game. The dynamic of playing against a former teammate, especially one as accomplished as Rodgers, adds an intriguing layer to the season opener, with both sides eager to start their seasons on a positive note. And that wraps up our deep dive into these massive stories. Stick around for the lightning round recap and your full call to action. All right, that was a whirlwind of incredible updates. We saw Aaron Rodgers making deep connections in Pittsburgh, explored the evolving identity of the Steelers, highlighted the reunion of legends Mike Tomlin and Aaron Rodgers, and heard from Rodgers' former teammates. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the Rodger Report for more exclusive content, hit the notification bell so you never miss an update, drop a comment below with your thoughts on these stories, and follow us on all social media platforms to stay connected. We'll see you in the next one.